Carl Brunner once stated, "They may forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel." Understanding the concepts of emotional intelligence can lead to improvement of overall communication and its success. To better understand what emotional intelligence is, we're going to talk about how to recognize emotional intelligence. Then, the 4 skill sets of emotional intelligence, and finally, how to improve the success of your overall emotional intelligence. First, let's take a look at how we can recognize emotional intelligence. To do this, we're going to dive deep into the structure of our own minds and examine our own thoughts and where our emotions and thoughts come from. Thoughts enter the brain from the spinal cord, where our senses transmit the information to the brain for further processing. It'll move through our brain to our frontal lobe, where our rational thought lies. In between there is the limbic system. This is where emotion lives. For thoughts to be formed, they must first pass through here, so the connection between emotion and thought are very closely tied together. One must develop their emotional intelligence to become an effective communicator. Communication is not just a one-way street, though. It takes 2 to complete this action. So to develop emotional intelligence, you must understand the state of the emotional intelligence of those you are communicating with. This means using clues and cues to understand when people have control or have lost control of their emotional intelligence. Recognizing traits of someone who has a developed emotional intelligence, you will notice several functions of their communication. They may have a calm tone in their response, take time in giving their responses, and develop their thoughts and make considerations to the personalities of those they are talking with. When communicating to someone who has lost control of their emotional intelligence, you may note a loud or aggressive tone, perhaps a change in their nonverbal cues, or a self-centered stance on opinionated thought. These issues can be more recognized by testing your emotional intelligence. Testing your state of emotional intelligence can provide for a better understanding of what you know and where you need to improve. There are several ways to do this. One is the Briggs-Meyer type indicator, which can show where your strengths and weaknesses lie as a communicator. Another popular way is the Talent-Smart Emotional Intelligence Test. This is one of the most popular online tests to recognize your current emotional intelligence and identify areas that need improvement. Often, areas that are in need of improvement are one within a 4 different category main skill sets of emotional intelligence. The first skill is called personal competency. This is an area where we find 2 different skill sets. One of those is the ability of self-awareness. This is the understanding of how you are reacting during the moment you are having an emotion. Furthermore, being willing to accept uncomfortable feelings may be a better way to understand your emotional intelligence. A strong sense of self-awareness means knowing what motivates you and understanding which types of people or situations make you uncomfortable. The second skill set in this personal competency is self-management. This means understanding how you are reacting without letting it affect your emotional intelligence negatively. Imagine being attacked by a bear. Would you be able to control your emotional intelligence to be able to think rationally in that moment? Most people would say no. This means there's an opportunity for development of your self-management. The next area of skill that we'll talk about is called social competency. Again, here we find 2 different skill sets that make up this category. The first of these is social awareness. This is a foundational skill set for emotional intelligence. It is the ability to understand the emotions of others as they are happening during communication. This may be difficult if we are not perceiving them as they occur, and especially hard if they do not align with our own emotions or thoughts. Many people may take a long time to create this understanding and develop this particular skill. The second skill in this competency is relationship management. This skill is the effective culmination of the first 3 skill sets we examined. This is our ability to recognize our emotions, control them, and identify the emotions of others within the context of our interactions. Managing relationships takes time and commitment, but can provide for a basis to achieve the most out of our interactions with others. The different types of relationships we have may give us the ability to improve our emotional intelligence as well. There are many ways to improve emotional intelligence. One way is by understanding nonverbal cues. The way we communicate through our physical interactions displays our emotions, and this is just as important as what we are actually saying. If they are misinterpreted, it can change or diminish the success of your communication. Another important way to improve our emotional intelligence is by developing our listening skill sets. This is a vital part of our emotional intelligence and is easy to practice as many people desire to be heard. Improving our emotional intelligence and its proper use will create an effective route to clear communication. Thinking creatively to form specific lines of communication with others will allow a unique bond that improves the understanding of what we are trying to say. Our moods can also greatly affect our emotional intelligence and that of others. It is important to adjust our ways of communicating depending on what the situation calls for. Now, we have spent some time today focusing on emotional intelligence and its impact on our ability to communicate. We began by developing an understanding of it, then progressed into the four main skill sets required to utilize emotional intelligence, and finally, we took a look at how we can improve our emotional intelligence. This has been a highly regarded topic over the last several years as many more businesses look at emotional intelligence as a key part of an individual's success. According to Travis Bradbury and Gene Gravies, studies show that 58% of all performance at work is related to your understanding of emotional intelligence. Learning how to control our emotions through communication takes time, just like any other skill, not only to develop, but to maintain. By doing this, we can find a way to improve our communication, grow healthier relationships, and develop a more successful world for everyone.